Yesterday we started with this gas absorption equipment, and I introduced you with some general gas absorption equipment, and out of those we selected actually two. So we were supposed to then start with them. So here is a brief overview of lecture from yesterday, that we said there can be various equipment which can be used for like this contact of vapor and liquid, actually in case of either absorption, stripping or distillation. And out of those equipment, the first two types mentioned at the top, one is spray tower and other is PEG tower. And then along with those there were some other mentioned below here, like spray tower, bubble column, and then there is centrifugal contactor. So in the start of the lecture, I just briefly discussed the phenomena of contact of vapor liquid and the operation of these equipment for a couple of minutes, and later we switch towards the detailed discussion as mentioned here, that we have to actually design PEG column and tray column for the liquid absorption here, as well as stripping. Like we will be designing absorption column, and stripping column is definitely performing the same action, just inverse of that absorption, or it is just opposite to the absorption. So overall design will be like same. So in the case of tray tower, we discussed that how the operation, how the main contact between vapor and liquid occurs, and there were five various regimes which were discussed, that when vapor and liquid will come in contact, which phenomena can occur. And then later on in the column internal, we said because this contact takes place on the surface of trays, so there were three different types of trays they were discussed, and at the end it was concluded with various advantage or disadvantage of various parameters related to these trays. And after that, the next part which will be discussed here today is about PEG tower. So in this lecture, actually I will just talk about 2 points. One is about sorry, here is a typo, PEG towers. So absorption, introduction to the PEG tower, and then today we will start with absorber design consideration, general consideration, that when you have to design the absorption column, so what are the general consideration, general points that you have to keep in mind. And I think that's all the general discussion related to absorption, stripping, the conditions, and choice of solvent, and so on. Then by next lecture, inshallah, we will start proper design of equipment. So PEG tower, yesterday we studied tray tower. In those tray or plate tower, they mean the same name, like trays or plates are used in those tower, but here in these tower there will be like some packing. So inside these column, they have again same assembly. Somehow they are vertical cylindrical towers, vessel. It's actually vessel in which you fill various packing. In the given diagram, I will just quickly explain the diagram, but sometimes the packing are of one type, sometimes packing of are more than one type. And in this specific example here, actually he has mentioned that column which contain packing as well as the trays. So they can be used in specific condition, but mostly they are like separate one. Either it will be tray tower or the PEG tower, but in some application maybe you can have the tower which contain both, like trays, and then there are like packing. So in these kind of column, actually always liquid will like start from the top. So as you know, in the general diagram, that in absorption columns, liquid enter from the top and vapor enter from the bottom, or gas enter from the bottom. So liquid which will enter from the top, it will flow down in the form of film, because here there are no trays, there is no like stagnation of liquid. Liquid didn't stay as it stays in case of trays. Here on the packing, liquid will actually continuously flow down across the surface of packing. And when it will be going down across the surface of packing, so the vapor which are coming from the bottom, or the gas which is coming from the bottom, that will also be moving towards the top. So gas molecule will come in contact with this liquid which is dispersed on the surface of various packing. So in these column, the gas which enters from the bottom, so that that also passes through something called distributor. By the way, here are some liquid distributor and vapor distributor, as you can see in the diagram here. At the bottom there is a something vapor distributor, and as well at the top there is something liquid distributor. They are actually we can say homogeneous or overall proper distribution of the liquid as well as vapor throughout the column. You actually don't just push here the vapors inside the column to one main line, but there is a line, and then there are various point of outlet, or you can say just moving out from this main pipe towards the column. So there are various points, but overall it is called uniform distribution, for the uniform distribution throughout the body of the this column. Actually, on industrial scale, these columns will be huge. They will be having like large diameter, for example 5-10 feet, or even more than that, even sometime in meters. So in that case, if you just enter like vapor through one side of the column, so maybe most of the vapor will just moving upward through one side, on that side from where, for example, on this side, on the right side, they are entering. So they will just enter and move up, mostly vapor in this direction. Some will move toward the other, because this is huge equipment. So in order to provide uniform distribution both for the liquid and vapor, when they enter from the main feed line, for both vapor and liquid, then they move through the distributor, and they are distributed throughout the column with the help of these distributors. So when these vapor will pass through the distributor, then flow upward through the wetted packing. Wetted packing mean actually the packing which is wetted with the liquid. Liquid has some film on the surface of that packing, and vapor will be coming in contact with that. So at the end, gas definitely will leave from the top, and liquid which is moving down will leave from the bottom. So I've already mentioned this, the importance of liquid and vapor distributor, explaining this point, that for the uniform distribution of liquid and vapor throughout the column, because these are large size equipment, so in order to make it distributed properly throughout the column, so that actually we have to increase the contact between the vapor and liquid. So in order to increase their content, their distribution should be uniform throughout the column. So liquid and vapor distributor are installed in columns actually which are large in size. Large mean actually large in height. For example, if column height is more than 6 feet or 20 meter, then we have to install something called liquid redistributor. Here it is also mentioned in the diagram, liquid redistributor. And the purpose of liquid redistributor is to avoid channeling. If like your column is this packing inside the column is above 6 meter, then what happens after this height, with the experience, the people have observed that liquid will start making some channels. What does this word mean, channels? Anyone know about it?
A predicted path, like it will follow the same path.
Yes, you can say good. Its distribution will be disturbed. Actually, it will pass through some path where there is less like restriction. Actually, less resistance for the flow of the liquid. Whenever these packings are filled, there is some portion along the walls of this main along the wall, where there is maybe when you have to fill the packing, especially here in case of structured packing, you can observe somehow some vacant space. So instead of passing all the liquid through these packing, that is resistive path. Definitely packing provide resistance to the flow somehow, so liquid will look for some easy path. So liquid will start moving, instead of through long path of this packing, it will start moving from the sides or wherever there is a less resistance. So overall liquid distribution will be disturbed in such cases if you just fill one a column which is, for example, if you just consider, for example, it is 60 feet. So if you just fill one packing bed of the 60 feet, after some time, when liquid initially will be distributed properly, but later on it starts making the paths which are easy to flow. And in order to avoid that, because when liquid will just pass some specific path and it is not distributed throughout the packing, then contact between vapor and liquid will decrease, and that is harmful for us because we need contact between vapor and liquid for mass transfer. So in such case, to avoid that, liquid redistributor are installed. What will happen here after some packing, for example, after 20 feet, 22 feet, or around this 20, you will just collect the liquid once uh, by installing some structure, and after that then liquid will be again redistributed. Those redistributor are installed and so on. So due to this reason, when you will see the large packing columns, packed column, so there are various stages of the bed. So sometime there can be another purpose. For example, if you look at the reactors, in that case, if there is like bed of the catalyst, so maybe for cooling or heating purpose, in between the bed is split into 2-3 parts, and there is a cooling and or heating mechanism in between the beds. But here, in case of absorption, actually there are stages of bed to provide better distribution of the liquid by installing liquid redistributors through this. So then there are something called sport plate and bed limiter inside this. So sport plate, as its name indicate, always where there will be a packing, we have to sport those packing on some surface. So that can be in the form of mesh. Somehow you just install a mesh or a screen which will contain some holes, and on that surface then this packing structure can be placed. And because here through these columns, overall liquid will be flowing down, but vapor moves towards the top, and they operate at high pressure. So if you just don't cover the surface of these packing from the top, they can also move, like they will not stick at the proper place. So at the top, something called bed limiter that is installed, like it limits the bed to its movement. So movement of the bed or movement of this packing, they should stay in the form of properly structured. So uh, you install actually sport plate and bed limiter to sport or to fix the packing at specific place. Here in this diagram, actually two type of packing are shown. I will just talk about them in next slide. I think random packing and structured packing. There are various type of packing, so we will talk about these in detail. So other this sport grade or somehow bed limiter, those are the same thing. They sport the like uh, they sport somehow the bed from the movement. So something mentioned here is chimney or collector tray. Like in this, actually the specific diagram which is shown, it consists of actually trays as well as the packing. So here, when packing ends, just you collect somewhere. So he has mentioned it a collector tray. On this surface, liquid is collected and then it is redistributed again to the plate installed below this, and so on. Then how it moves down, through the downcomer area and so on. So this is just about pack tower. Generally, if I just summarize, pack tower are just simple vertical tower in which there are packing, and those packing can be of different type, like they are random packing or structured packing. And in order to support the packing, to avoid their just unnecessary movement, we install actually sport plate or sport grid as well as bed limiter, and there is a need of liquid distributor as well as vapor distributor through the column for the uniform distribution or flow of these liquid and vapor. And sometimes liquid redistributor are installed just to avoid the channeling through the column if that column is of large height. So there are two type of packings in general category. There are two types, like random packing and structured packing, which are used inside these columns. So first we will talk about here the random packing. As their name indicate, actually they are not well structured. They are just random and randomly packed inside the column. So they are not properly fixed in terms of actually their structure. So let's look at those. They are actually four generation of the random packing, which were developed with the passage of time. So first two initially shown at the top, they were used actually like in 1950 or before that. So they were named as ceramic reshing rings as well as ceramic barrel saddle. So as their name is indicated, they were made up of ceramic. So and they were named as reshing ring as well barrel saddle. So these are two type of packing which were widely used inside the pack tower before 1950. You can look at their structure that they are quite like solid structure, and there are some holes through these packing. So they were not good really for the mass transfer. So in order to increase that, then some modified structure were introduced inside 1950, and those were called as like metal pawl ring and ceramic interlace saddle. So those somehow same structure which were available earlier, maybe you can find the difference that their structure was more open in this case. In 1950, the more their structure which were more solid in that case, and like spacing were less, so they were increased actually in these modified. So with that, what happened actually, it improved the capacity of the flow of vapor and liquid through the column, as well as mass transfer rate and the column pressure drop. So you can see that when there was a solid structure, totally solid structure and less opening, so through that, definitely resistance to the liquid was more, so more pressure drop was possible. But here, when there were less solid structure, there were more holes through the packing, so liquid and as well as vapor can easily pass through, and the pressure drop decreased. As well, when there were more distribution of the liquid and vapor on the surface of these packing, so definitely it increased the mass transfer rate as well as the capacity for the liquid and vapor to pass through. And then further, with the passage of time, more improvements were made, and they were further opened somehow. We can say already existing structure was somehow there, but they were more opened, and they were named like metal intellects, and somehow I think these are their companies, IMTP and the CMR and so on. So metal cascade mini ring, they were introduced in 1970. If you just compare those with the previous version, you can see that they are more open as compared to the previous structure, especially in case of this metal influx. So you can see there are some strips of material which is metal here, and their structure was still more open. So with this, it reduced further the friction and improved the mass transfer, because more open distribution of the liquid as well as vapor through the column was possible by installing these kind of structure. And they were further opened, more opened, and they were introduced in 1950. They were called metal reshing super ring and metal interlace ultra, and more surface area was available in this case, because you see that you are more opening this. So when you are more opening this, there are more surfaces of available for the liquid to flow, as well as for the vapor to come in contact with that liquid. So here the ease of flow was increased, and definitely pressure drop was decreased through the column. So they can always also handle the definitely more capacity as compared to the previous version. So these are the latest one which are being used, random packing. Others were like replaced with these somehow, or because they are providing better efficiency, less pressure drop, so definitely they are preferred. So here you can see somehow mostly two material are mentioned, like metal and ceramic, but I will tell you in next couple of minutes that three material are actually commonly used for making these packing. They are ceramic, metal as well plastic. So what is difference between these, or which one is preferred in which condition, we will look at that. So these random packing, they have a diameter of 1 to 3.5 inch overall. Their diameter of one like packing element is between this 1 to 3.5. So nominal packing size mean height of the packing, they should be less than the 1 1/8 of the column diameter to minimize liquid channeling. So in this case here, this is the guideline that when you are using these random packing, so nominal packing size mean when you are making the bed of the packing, it should be less than 1/8 of the column diameter. For example, column diameter is like 8 feet, so this bed height should be like 1 feet, 1/8 of that. So then again you will install in between the liquid distributor, and then again will install another set of this packing, or like packing bed and so on. So there in order to just increase the distribution of the liquid. So increased packing diameter decreases the pressure drop at the expense of decreased mass transfer efficiency. If you keep on increasing the diameter of this packing bed, so that will like decrease packing pressure drop, but it will definitely reduce the mass transfer efficiency. So major point are these three, that which material you have to use. So when there are the metal packing, so metal packing definitely they are expensive as compared to other two material, which is ceramic as well as plastic, but they provide superior strength. Metal are they have good strength as well as the wettability. The surface wetness of the liquid is better, and more good the wetness will be, the it means there will be more better distribution of the liquid on the surface of some structure, and definitely the better mass transfer or the interaction between vapor and liquid. But ceramic packing, they also have like more better, even like somehow variability as compared to the even metals, but they are used in the corrosive environment at elevated temperature. Elevated means very high temperature. So there you have to use, then it is preferred that ceramic packing should be used, but their strength will be definitely less than the metal packing. So at the end there are the plastic packing. They are like inexpensive because plastic are now widely produced in the world, and as compared to metal and ceramic, plastic is cheaper. Due to this reason you see a lot of things of plastic now in your surrounding, and they have like sufficient strength, but they are definitely less as compared to at least metals, that may be comparable to the ceramic, but they have poor wettability. Their surface wetness is not good. So due to this reason, if you want to increase the mass transfer, it will be better to go for either metal or ceramic. So up to here, any question?
सर ये जो हमारा लिक्विड होगा, जैसे कि रैशिंग रिंग है, इसके अंदर से भी जाएगा और बेसिकली इसके सरफेस पे भी वो होगा,
हाँ
दोनों जगह से मैच ट्रांसफर होगा ना?
ये जो which is shown at the top, definitely, because it's like inside is hollow, so liquid can flow through this hole, as well as it will be flowing on its surface. That we are calling is actually wetting of the surface, both from the inside as well as outside. But when here we have more open structure, actually they have major disadvantage of this, that they were too close. You can see here that they are overall solid structure. There are some holes inside them, and that's it. So they were providing actually too high pressure drop, as well as the less surface for the liquid vapor interaction. So in these cases, when you will keep on opening it more and more, then definitely it will provide more better chance of the liquid vapor interaction. So at least guys, here later on when we will design the equipment, there are various properties which we have to look for. So they will be usually mentioning these, the latest one, which are shown mostly at the end, these four. So I think there are properties available for all of the rings, but more preferred are these one, which are more efficient in terms of mass transfer and like less pressure drop. So we will be like using them. So at least remember somehow their names. If you can, at least 3 to 4 you should remember. So then there are the other types which are called structured. As their name is indicating, first one was random. They are just randomly, you put it inside the column and randomly placed. So these are structured. They are packed inside the column in a better way. If you remember just that diagram, initial diagram from where I started the lecture, you can see that random packing, that was something accumulated inside column randomly. But at the other end, if you have seen, structured packing were a way better structured inside the column. So they are also there are 4 generations of like their design. Similarly, like structured packing, they were also developed with the passage of time. So here there is one which is called Phantom Pack. By the way, it's like structure is not provided in your text, and I couldn't also find from some other sources. So this mentioned in the book this fact about this, that this was introduced in 1950. This was first like packing which was structured, and it was fabricated from thin metal strips. So thin metal strips were joined together to make a like packing barrier on which you can interact the liquid and vapor. So they finally formed somehow the honeycomb, and they were not good actually. And even from the day one when these structures were developed, they didn't perform well and not popular in the industry due to liquid mal distribution. So inside those, the liquid was not properly distributed. But more than this, I really don't know what was major problem for that, but they were not used mainly. But after that, in 1960, something which was developed is called Sealzer. This is, I think, the company again, and the wire gate. So that the same one which was initially introduced, that was modified somehow, and they were structured, or they were packed instead of honeycomb structure. They were packed in some other structured way, and these packing were introduced. They are totally made up of the wires which are meshed together. So to form a structure which is called wire gauze, like as its name is also indicating, like there are the wire and they are just making a gauze. Like I think you have seen this gauze in the labs somewhere in CPI lab, or where you go for the heating, you put something on the burner. If you remember, that is called wire gauze. So if we just keep on joining a lot of those wire gauze, and then we will somehow you can reach to these kind of structure. So they were used but with the passage of time, in 1977, some companies introduced this Malapa, and they were actually they were introduced are made up of wire, but they were of strips, some metal strips. If you just observe it closely, maybe you can see that there are some metal strips here. Corrugated mean which is of curve shape, like a V, like this. So here they were just joined together, they were put together, and some structure were formed. As compared to wire, they perform well with these structure, and if you can see that there were some holes inside these structures, so liquid can distribute it. Suppose liquid is passing through this channel, it can move towards the other, as well as the vapor can move to the other parts, and it right overall provided more better distribution of the liquid and vapor. So with then passage of time, they were further modified. Actually, they were those again corrugated structures, but here maybe they were just placed with each other vertically, but in this structure it seems like they were placed on each other in the horizontally somehow. So with that, even its structure were further improved, and they are called Malapack Plus. So they are mean somehow the same material which was corrugated plates, they are joined together and make some structure. So I will advise you kindly Google the more images, and if you can find better to understand these various difference between the structures, you didn't get it from these images. These are from your text, please. So up to here we have discussed these type of packing. So let's look at them, that what is comparison between these and which one is better, or in terms of cost as well as pressure drop and efficiency. So if you have to select, which one should be selected. So if you look here, there are 3 columns. First one is like random packing. So inside random packing, actually the initial one, which was racing ring and barrel saddles, those 2 initial ones of before 1950, they are just categorized separately, and then other through flow, because their structure were more open and through them the flow can occur, so they are just called through flow generally, but they are random structure, all 6 after initial 2. So they were quite solid, and they were less number of holes through those structures, but then they have more open structure. And then there are the structured packing, which are just shown here, the three which are commonly used. As I told, that first one was not even practically used much in the industries due to its disadvantages. So when you look at the cost, so relatively the first one, which were racing rings, they were low in the cost because that was easy to make. Just you have to make some solid structure and make holes through that, and that's it. So they were not much sophisticated. So when you just did more work, more open to them, so definitely their cost will increase as compared to the first case. And structured packing, they are costly because their structure, in order to make them, it takes more time as well, the more effort. So in case of pressure drop was moderate. If you actually just compare it is the comparison between these three. So definitely the first one, they have mean more pressure drop as compared to the later ones, because later the pressure drop was decreased due to opening of the structure and so on. And then structured packing has very low pressure drop as compared to the earlier cases of random packing, because they are structured well. So when liquid or vapor will flow, they find good path as well as the good distribution and the resistance to the flow, and that's the improved here. That is not much, so they provide very low pressure drop. So efficiency, in terms of efficiency, the first again was moderate, not that good, but with the passage of time, when you introduced, more open structure, the efficiency increased, and it is very high in case of structured packing, because they provide very best contact between vapor and liquid. So in that case, definitely the mass transfer will be high and the efficiency should be good. So vapor capacity, fairly high. They can handle, but as you have seen that their structure was quite close, they can't handle that much high quantity. But all others, either random or structure, they can provide you good handling capacity for the vapor. And turn down ratio, I think it was between the vapor flow rate maximum to the minimum. Somehow it was defined in yesterday's lecture. So that is quite same for these. So that factor is not much important here because it is same for all of these. So when you have to select, for example, if you are looking only for cost, definitely they are good, but racing rings and saddle, because they are low cost. But as compared to this, if you will look in other terms like pressure drop as well as efficiency, so definitely they are not that good, and structured are good in that way, but they are just expensive. This is the only disadvantage of those. So when we look at the PEC towers, actually in which conditions, here we are gonna look at comparison between now tray column and the PEC column. So which one is better? So here there are some generalization related to the PEC column, that in which condition we go for the PEC column, and opposite to that definitely will be valid for the tray column. So when there are the corrosive surfaces, the liquid or the gas which you are bringing, and that is the corrosive, that cause the corrosion. So in that case, you go for like use of some material which is corrosion resistant, and they are ceramic as well as the plastic material rather than metals. You know that metal can easily get corroded, as compared to that ceramic and plastic are like better, they have better tendency of like not being corroded. So they will be used in those cases when corrosive. Corrosive, for example, sometimes your liquid can be corrosive. The liquid or the solvent which you are bringing, for example, these acid and bases, they are highly corrosive. So if your service demand, like in the process with you are removing some gas, and as we discussed somewhere earlier, that NaOH is being used as a solvent. So in that case, definitely that will cause corrosion inside the column, and you will avoid the metal. Instead of metal, ceramic or plastic will be used, and in that you have seen that plastic provide less wettability, but it is at the same time like cheap, and ceramic provide more better wettability as well as its efficiency was better. So in terms of wettability and strength, but that has one expensive as compared to the plastic. So in such case, definitely then you have to look for some, although it will be a like maybe costly test, but you have to go for that. Otherwise, if you are using corrosive environment and metal, then after some time you have to again and again replace the metal structures because they will be corroded and lost. So their efficiency will decrease with the passage of time. So services that produce foaming. By the way, here if I just asked you that I was majorly talking about like use of packing and inside packing ceramic or the plastic. Can we use here like tray tower in this case? Trays are made up of which material?
They're mostly metals.
Definitely, they are metallic. So in this case, as I said, that when we are favoring one opposite to that is not good. So first of all, here the metal inside the main those column that sorry these tray tower trays are made up of metal. So either you have to make mean just prepare them with some anti-corrosive material, and that will make it highly expensive. So as compared to that, it is better to go for pack tower, and inside pack tower, because you have more than one option, you can use such packing. Other second condition in which if something produce more foam are services mean the liquid vapor contact that produce mean foaming to sphere for the use of tray. So in that case, it is good to go for the packed column instead of tray column. So can you guys tell me if there will be foaming, then what is the problem inside the tray tower? Why we should avoid it as he mentioned here?
Low flow rates of gas.
Okay, fine. Any other answer? What is this foam formation? Foam is actually when just your liquid and vapor are coming in contact, and as mentioned yesterday that there will be some froth formation, but that froth if become that strong, it appears in the form of foam. So in that case, you remember that above the surface of one plate there was something called disengagement section. Do you remember? Yesterday I told you that in disengagement section, the disengagement, that was disengagement between the vapor and liquid, that is the space above the surface of one plate and between the before starting the next plate, that area is called disengagement section. So in that section actually disengagement between vapor and liquid takes place. If some vapor droplets are being carried away with the vapor, they will be just dropped down and vapor will leave towards the top plate. So if there is a foam formation, and usually if foam just start from the one plate and it reach to the surface of the second plate, so in that case there will be no disengagement section, and definitely it will just disturb the like this vapor liquid contact and the phenomena of mass transfer, because there will be no distribution between vapor and liquid above one surface of plate up till next surface, whole surface if it is covered with the foam, there is no better mass transfer. And in that case, then it is not good to go with the tray column. In that case, mostly this is one of the condition in which it is always necessary to go for like pack tower, because if there is a strong foam formation in the pack tower, still it can be handled because you don't need that like disengagement areas or the section. But in trays, it is necessary to have some space between vapor and liquid, so that their vapor can just leave towards the top and liquid can go down. So in such cases, packed tower will be preferred. Then there are the vacuum operations and other surfaces for which pressure drop must be low. Uh, Pack tower are used inside the pack tower. Uh, Pressure drop is low as compared to the tray tower. So inside the tray tower, when there is a complete tray, and as you have just seen that there are some pores through those vapor move towards the top, so pressure drop is higher inside the tray tower as compared to the pack tower. By the way, I don't remember any like specific numbers. It will be good if you guys can check kindly that if you take the same size in terms of like diameter and the height, if there are the columns and same inlet pressure steam are entering, so what will be their pressure drop exactly. So I think you can find this information easily through some convention related to chemical engineers or some books which have such conventions. So services that benefit from the low liquid hold up in the column. In case of tray tower, you remember that there is a liquid hold up on the surface of like tray. So if that liquid hold up is not necessary, that vapor and liquid can easily quickly contact with each other, there should not be like some specific stay on the surface of like tray as it happens in tray tower. So it is good to go with the packed column instead of that main tray column. So these were just general some guidelines that in which cases it is better to go with the trays packing instead of trays. In just opposite to these, definitely you can use the tray towers. So random packing is favored now among those packing which were random packing and structured packing. So random packing is favored when the column diameter is less than 2 feet and pack height is less than 20 feet. The reason is while you have to look for structured packing, they come in some specific structure and definitely they will be available in maybe it will be more costly to make the structure with this very small size which is like 2 feet or less than 20 feet. So that is fine, height is still sufficient, but in terms of diameter, this 2 feet diameter is a very small number when you look at actually industrial columns. So in that case, if you are using some column which is very small in dia, it is good to go with random packing as compared to the structured, because in that case structured will be very costly to size for this. So structured packing are best choice for installation when pressure drop is factor. Because you have just seen that structured packing were providing very low pressure drop. So if you are using any condition in which maybe you want to go for minimum pressure drop, lowest pressure drop, then the thing which favors you first of all among trays and packing will be better, and then among packing it is the structured packing which gives you the less pressure drop. Or for example, he mentioned here another condition in which you can use structured packing for replacing existing trays. For example, there is a column which contains trays, but you have to replace it with the packing, so it should be replaced with the structured packing, and this phenomenon is called actually retrofitting. This term is used when you just somehow you say that we modify the existing equipment in the industry by replacing some parts, not major units, but some parts are replaced and you just make it better in working. So that is called retrofitting. When a high capacity or degree of separation is required, you can use it. Like old trays are replaced with these structured packing, it will provide good capacity of separation. So use of structured packing should be avoided at pressure above 200 psi and the liquid flow rate above 10 gallon per minute per feet square. So the reason which come to my mind maybe because if structure maybe at very high pressure and flow rate, that structure cannot be maintained, and that will face high pressure. So in that case, a structure can maybe dislodge or dislocate. So maybe you can find any other reason regarding this, that why it should be avoided in this case. So by the way, I think you studied, or maybe you are now studying somehow this heat transfer as well, a mass transfer, although you studied already. So you know that these when there are turbulent flow, so mixing between the liquid or between liquid and vapor is good in case of turbulent as compared to the when there is, what is the type of flow, by the way? You studied somewhere, fluid flow. Flow types.
Laminar.
Yeah, good, exactly. In case of laminar, you remember that something keeps on flow in a streamline. So when there is a turbulence, there is more disturbance. So when there is more disturbance, actually there will be the more contact between the species. So turbulent liquid flow is desirable if mass transfer is limiting in the liquid phase. It means that if for mass transfer, you know that you need better contact. So if something is going in streamline, there is no much contact between the two species, so definitely no much mass transfer takes place. So liquid and vapor should have sufficient turbulence so that their contact can be increased and you can get more better, like somehow contact between them and more better what I should say is mass transfer. So that's it up to here. We have discussed actually the PEC tower. So just to quickly summarize, initially the PEC tower inside were discussed that what is there. There are packing distributor are installed for a uniform flow, and then types of packing were discussed. Among those, there were like two types majorly: structured packing and random packing. Inside structured packing, we have seen four general categories, and they were developed with the passage of time. And we have seen that among those, they were with the passage of time modified in such a way that more better flow paths can be provided for liquid and vapor. Through that, more better contact will take place, as well pressure drop was decreased. And then there was structured packing. They are quite expensive as compared to other, but they are well structured and they provide less pressure drop, as well the better contact between liquid and vapors. And then we have seen some comparison between those packing, and at the end we just saw that what should be your choice between the PEC tower and the tray tower, because up to here you have discussed two major type of equipment, either tray tower or the PEC tower. So we have seen some general consideration that in which condition actually the PEC tower are better as compared to the tray tower, and inside the tray towers, if you have to use structured or random packing, in which condition which one should be followed. So up to here, if you have any question.
Sir, what is the effect of pressure drop in our
Uh,
system?
right. Whenever we are in the industry, this equipment is not like one separate equipment. Like for example, we are using absorber. Sometime that gas stream is coming inside the column, and you want to remove some specific component, and later on that gas which is just leaving from this column, that should be used in some other equipment. And always equipment have some specific pressure, these requirements of temperature, pressure. So if you will be dropping pressure here, uh, that will definitely you have to make up. After that, you maybe have to compress the gas again. You will be just using more energy to just compress it and use it in next column. So if there is such limitation is not there, for example, if its pressure is dropped, so and we don't have any issue, due to this reason we have just discussed that in that case you can even use some other packing which is cheap and which even provide more pressure drop. There will be no much difference. At the same time, another problem here can be, if you remember that in case of absorption, we are just going to start the design. So here again, I will repeat that pressure should be high inside the column, so that favors more absorption. So if pressure is dropped inside the column, pressure is decreasing throughout the column, so definitely absorption will be disturbed there, and it will be affected. So these can be the possible reasons for keeping the pressure inside the column like somehow up to the requirement of the limit.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question. Sir,
Yes, yes.
sir, what is the relation between the column diameter and height with the favoring condition of structured or unstructured rings?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Maybe you are talking about that point, which was 2 feet diameter should have like, or any other point you are linking.
सर नहीं सर, जिस तरह हम कॉलम की हाइट और डायमीटर के हिसाब से कह रहे हैं कि स्ट्रक्चर पैकिंग हमारी स्ट्रक्चर्ड होनी चाहिए या रैंडम होनी चाहिए, का आपसे क्या रिलेशन?
No, actually, I was talking, there was only one point which I'm again, I was just talking to you that maybe you are just looking at that point. That was if it is, first of all, related to height. If that I have explained that if the column height is too much, you have to make some, you can say that stages, so that you can redistribute the liquid. So when there is redistribution of liquid, we said that there will be more better contact between liquid and vapor. This is related to the height. Yes, when you look at like now filling the column with the packing, so there was one point here we mentioned that if column diameter is only 2 feet, so in that case it was said that you should avoid structured packing, you should use random packing. So there is no such just general relationship or something like that, but I told you that actually structured packing, in order to make those structured packing, you need more effort, and if column is very small, so in order to make restrictive packing for that, maybe that is not that economical as compared to the random packing if you just take and put inside there. So that's the reason, not in terms of some other relationship.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
स्ट्रक्चर और
I have one
रैंडम
question.
सेम हाइट है ना?
Sorry.
जी पूछें, जवाब दीजिए.
सर वो मैं कह रहा था कि फॉर द सेम हाइट ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर एंड रैंडम पैकिंग के लिए सरफेस एरिया स्ट्रक्चर का ज्यादा होगा.
No, surface. Yes, structured surface area of structured is been way more as compared to other, due to this reason that was providing good efficiency as compared to other. Structure packing, that if you have just as you have seen the main various image picture of these, you can see that in case of structured, they are fully packed, and somehow there is a path for liquid and vapor to flow through that, but very low empty space between them, and it is not like that solid, that liquid and vapor will just passing through the side. They can pass through this structure as well. They have very good surface area as compared to the other. In structure definitely surface area ज़्यादा ही होगा, क्योंकि वो like there are number of plates, they are combined together and you have just fixed them, as in case of the in between there was the second stage or the third stage which you have seen in the figures. So structure has definitely more surface area.
सर जैसे कि ये जो स्ट्रक्चर है, ये इसमें कॉरुगेशन में चैनलिंग प्रॉपर होती है, ऑर्डर वाइज होती है, तो इसमें भी हमें रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूटर की जरूरत है. और सर अगर रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूटर लगाया हुआ है तो उसमें भी लाइक वो जैसे किसी सीव वगैरह के ऊपर रखा होता है उसको, या बेसिकली किस तरह होता है, उसका जनरल आइडिया दीजिए.
रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूटर से मुराद ये है ना कि एक्चुअली वहाँ पे अगर आप उसको देखो ना, वो स्प्रे नोजल्स ही हैं. Liquid, one is just you throw it from the pipe inside the column, and other is you just distribute the liquid through the column, and best way is to spray the liquid. So they are just spray nozzles, and through those nozzles then liquid is just sprayed on the surface of packing and it goes down.
Okay sir, thank you.
Someone else was asking something, or can I just move forward? Okay, so general design consideration here, I think 3-4 slides related to that. So generally when you are going to start the design of absorber or stripper, the factor which you have to keep in mind, and by then you can link these factors with the choice of maybe column or pack column or the tray column, and inside that if you are using the pack column, which one will be better up to the knowledge that you have just gained up to now. So by you can link with the various factors which you have studied, that for example if entering feed gas or the liquid flow rate, their composition, temperature and pressure, if we know these things, then definitely based on that we have to decide that which equipment is better and which one we should go for. For example, if I just tell you in case of composition, if it is corrosive, then you have just studied something that which one you should use. Or flow rates, there was some limitation on the flow rates for the packing or pack tower. So in that case, definitely you have to look for example, as well temperature and pressure. So as it was mentioned that some ceramic packing are used at elevated or very high temperature. So these can be the various points which you can link that which one is more suitable option for you. So desired degree of recovery of one or more solute. So up to which point you need somehow the recovery. As well, for example, diameter of absorber or stripper. So if you know that as you have just studied that if somehow we are aware that what will be the diameter, then we can select among the either structured packing or the random packing. So actually these are the various points. If you will have these, it will be better to select one better equipment. So choice of absorbent or the stripping agent. Stripping agent is used inside the stripper, and absorbent is that liquid which is used inside the absorber. For example, if we have a choice of selecting something which is non-corrosive, so in that case, if that is non-corrosive, we can use even metallic or some other structure metallic in terms of pack tower or metallic in terms of spray tower can be used, but if it is corrosive, then definitely you don't have any other choice. It is good to go with the ceramic and the plastic. So minimum absorbent or the stripping agent flow rate and the actual absorbent or stripping flow rate. This we have to do some calculation and then we reach to this point. So hopefully before starting the design, you don't know this, so you have to make this calculation. So column operating temperature and pressure and allowable gas pressure drop. This was one point as someone asked that what is the effect of pressure drop. So if you know that how much should be the pressure drop inside the column, so based on that then you can decide that which option is more suitable for you. So heat effects and need for the cooling or heating if it is needed inside the column. So then where it should be or how much you have to heat or cool, and how you have to then structure your column, or how it should be. For example, if there is a need of heating or cooling, where it will be provided. Do you need, for example, such column in which there are trays at the bottom and top packing or so on. So number of equilibrium stages of the stage efficiency, this we have to do this calculation when we solve this. So type of the absorber or stripper equipment, this is the trays or packing. After some of the parameters you can then decide that which one is better for me. So need for the liquid redistributors if packing is being used, and if you after calculation found that height of the column is, for example, greater than the 20 feet, so in that case it is good to go with the redistributors. Then height of the absorber or stripper, overall height, and inside that height then we will distribute the bags of various these packings. So ideal absorbent that has some consideration or some properties. So what should be those properties? Or for example, if we are going to select the absorbent, it should have high solubility or solute. So that should be like that should have high affinity for those components which you want to remove, and less affinity for other components which you don't want to just absorb. So low volatility to reduce the losses. If it is highly volatile, some of it will be lost, and as I already mentioned somewhere earlier, that you have to use the makeup in more or large amount. So then it should be stable and inert. It should not react like with stable and inert in terms of that it should not although maybe you can this thing can come to your mind that as already we discussed somewhere that these absorbent react with those components, but it should just react with those components which you want to remove, but not with the others which you don't want to remove. And stable in terms of this, that it should not like get for example disintegrated into the various components. It should maintain its like structure or the molecular identity. Then it should be like low, it should have low corrosiveness. Already you know corrosion will damage your equipment. So low viscosity and high diffusivity, so that it can be easily moved through the column, and then later on you can as well, when there will be low viscosity, the just interaction between the liquid and vapor is increased. If it is a highly viscous liquid, so definitely gas cannot make that good interaction with this, or when there will be no better interaction, no mass transfer. So low foaming proclivities, so it should not make foaming, because in case of foaming, either although we have seen that if there is huge foaming, you should go for packed tower, but still foaming is not good because that reduces the separation between liquid and vapors, and overall this mass transfer capacity. So low toxicity and flammability, so that the people who are working, they didn't get damaged with this. It should be available easily. Within the process, it is better if you have this liquid which you are using as absorbent inside the plant, that is available inside the plant. Otherwise definitely it has to be imported from somewhere. So at the end cost, so it should have low cost. So these are some general design consideration for the ideal absorbent. Maybe when you are looking for some absorbent, it is not necessary that it fulfill all, but suppose you have choice between two, so one with fulfill maximum condition, you can select that. So widely used absorbent are being three here. There is a water, hydrocarbon oils. Somewhere we studied that to remove the gases from gaseous streams, hydrocarbon streams. So they are used, as well as aqueous solution of acid and bases. Somewhere was already discussed. For example, NaOH is used to remove CO2 as well as H2O. So there are some other solvents, but here he mentioned that they are widely used somehow. Amine solution which we discussed, one was monoethanolamine or maybe diethanolamine. They are also used for removal of capture of CO2 in natural gas industry. And then in the stripping section, as we have to strip those components from the liquid, so as we discussed that we introduce some gaseous stream, so that can be like which are commonly used is the steam. Actually, steam has two advantages, that it uses stripping agent as a gas, as well as at the same time steam will be at high temperature, so somehow it will raise the temperature inside the stripping column, and that is helpful for us because at high temperature stripping of the components from liquid is easy. There can be the air. Sometime if not possible to use these based on your requirement, you can go with some other inert gases, for example argon, nitrogen and so on, or maybe sometimes hydrocarbon gases can be used, lighter gases, depending on your process. But what I've seen is the most widely used steam, air and these inert gases. So for absorber design, need for its operation, generally I think now everyone remember this, that pressure should be high inside the absorber and temperature should be low for the better absorption. And then last time we have discussed this equation of the absorption factor somewhere when we started with this topic. So absorption factor was equal to the liquid flow rate divided by the K value into the this vapor flow rate or the gaseous flow rate. And I told you the relationship of this K factor with the pressure, that this K is actually calculated either with the Henry or the Raoult's law, and in that case, if you remember that equation, in case of, for example, Henry law, K is equal to H over P, and in case of Raoult's law, it is P sat over P. So overall, you can see that pressure has inverse relation with the K. So if pressure was high, we said that K value will be less, and when K value is less, actually absorption factor is high, so more absorption. So pressure high favor more absorption with the help of this equation. As well, there was, I think, exponential relation of K with the temperature. So if temperature is low, definitely K value is low, and when K value is low, A will be higher. So if this is favoring with the help of that solvent which you are like selecting, and you are providing these conditions of pressure high and low temperature, what will it help? Actually, it will help us to minimize the stage requirements, overall number of stages needed for the specific separation, as well as the absorbent flow rate. If you look at this equation here, in order to increase this absorption factor, which favor the absorption, as big this absorption factor is, there will be more absorption of the species which you want to remove. So in order to increase this, one was this K factor, and we said that K is dependent on temperature and pressure, we have just discussed. The other factor are, if you want to increase this absorption, you should increase the liquid flow rate. So if already, your pressure and pressure is high, temperature is low, and K value is helping you, then definitely it will reduce the requirement of the liquid flow rate. High flow rate will now be not needed, or with the low flow rate you can achieve the good separation. And to lower the equipment volume required to accommodate the gas flow. So if A is already higher, and it can be higher if V is low. So vapor flow rate is low. So vapor flow rate when A is already higher due to K, and or maybe due to this liquid flow rate, so definitely vapor flow rate will be low required in that case, and your column diameter will decrease. So to accommodate this small flow rate of the gas. Then the cost of here, actually, when now we know that we can achieve good or quick absorption, or the way better efficiency if pressure is high and temperature is low. But these both options, which is like high pressure which need compression, as well as low temperature which need refrigeration, they are expensive. So inside the industries, mostly absorber, which are operating, we don't install big compressor to compress all whole lot of gas as well as refrigeration of the liquid. So they are usually operated at feed gas pressure, which may be somehow greater than the ambient pressure. Already mean you don't go for specific mostly compression to increase the maybe pressure inside the column of the gas, but with the pressure which is already coming inside the column, that can be used as well. The ambient temperature of the liquid which you are using solvent here, that can be cooled with the help of cooling water, and up to that temperature that can be used. Definitely in that case, when you are not putting very high pressure and very low temperature, then you need more liquid flow rate and a big column. So at the end of the day, when being a design engineer, you have to do all these calculations. You have to look at, if for example we install a compressor as well as refrigeration system, so it will increase the flow rate of the liquid. So either that is more favorable, or to use these at ambient temperature, pressure and liquid flow rate high, that is favorable. So you have to do all these calculations, and based on economics you have to decide. For the slipper, it is just opposite to that. That pressure should be low and the temperature should. Yes. Just please, just let me finish, and kindly ask at the end, because some students have to attend next class. So just hold on,
Oh,
please,
sir,
for
my
2 minutes.
time.
I know, because but when we started it was at 10:20, and sorry, 9:22, 9:20, and it is 10:22. So wait for 2 minutes. Just I think this is the last slide. So for stripper, operating pressure is should be low, as well as temperature should be high for that. So it is just for this there is something called stripping factor. So as there was absorption factor, so stripping factor S, it is represented with S. Later on we will see that, and S is equal to 1 over A. That is equal to actually opposite to A, which we just saw in the last slide. So equation for S will be KV over L. So in that case, so mean high pressure and sorry, low pressure and high temperature will be favoring the stripping. So when you can adjust it with the pressure and temperature, so your stage requirement will decrease, as well the stripping agent flow rate will be decreased, similarly like we have seen in the absorption case. So but again here, to reduce the pressure, operating pressure should be low. So reduce the pressure, vacuum is expensive. So we usually operate again this column at the ambient pressure condition, and temperature can be provided somehow by heating. So here heating, and heating should not be that high, so that you can vaporize the solvent, because we just saw somewhere that it should not be like that high for the vaporization, because it will last your liquid and you have to make up. So heating can be provided somehow with the help of steam or some other steam inside the plant, but that is not also that high heating that will favor the stripping, but at the same time it shouldn't vaporize your liquid. So for any journal given gas feed flow rate, extent of the solvent absorption at temperature and pressure, and absorbent composition, if you know all these parameters, so then you will start calculation in the next lecture. There is always we calculate the minimum absorbent flow rate, and at that minimum absorbent flow rate which is required for the given condition or to meet the requirements, for minimum absorbent flow rate there are we need infinite number of counter current equilibrium contact between the phase. When actually flow rate will be minimum, you will need infinite number of the trays or the mean stages inside the packed column. So always then later on when we design it, we go for some trade-off. Trade-off means if we just move above this minimum flow rate, if we increase the flow rate above the minimum, then there will be like somehow number of trays will start decreasing, and then you reach to some agreement where you increase the flow rate above the minimum and your plates will be decreasing from the infinite number. So next time we have to start from here, next lecture. So design, generally here we have discussed the design consideration, that which conditions are favorable and how they are favorable or how they can be achieved, or if is it easy to achieve those, or you can go with the ambient condition. And the major factor that you have to keep in mind while you are going to select the absorbent solution or the solvent which you are going to use for the absorption. As well, there was something called uh, a stripping agent which you have to choose. There the criteria was discussed, and then there was some other parameters discussed related to the design. So thank you so much. And all those who have lectured, they can leave. I will just download the attendance. So thank you. See you next week, inshallah.